Welcome to Deborah SES Radio Show, Self-Empowerment Strategies. Deborah K. Adams, M.A., is an international #1 best-selling book author, expert on education and prevention of domestic violence and all forms of violence. Deborah SES, I have lived it, I have studied it, and I have worked it. Deborah's consulting business, Self-Empowerment Strategies, SES, evolved out of working with thousands of survivors of domestic violence and other forms of violence over the past 2 decades. Experience, study and research, and practical application led to the development of the SES priorities and the 5 A's to authenticity. Experiencing violence is traumatic, and it reduces your innate ability to function at your highest level. Deborah and her guests will share their knowledge, skills, and strategies. Join them in living free of violence, with joy, and out loud. Here she is, Deborah K. Adams.
Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining Deborah Says this fine Tuesday evening, afternoon, and I'm so happy to be here. Unfortunately, we had to cancel my radio show just last week because I had lost my voice, and that is a big blow to a radio show host. No voice, no show. So Kim, I'm very grateful to her for her calm, cool reaction, and she and a couple other ladies jumped in to put some interesting communications out there on the air at the same time. So I do appreciate that support, Kim. Tonight, I'm really excited to introduce to you my guest. Her name is Angela Gower-Jonson, and she is coming to us from United Kingdom. She is actually she's at like 1 a.m. in the morning, and I'm at 5:30 in the afternoon, and then my radio station people are at 8:30. So this is a very international time zone, crossing time zone boundary show tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about Angela. From childhood, she's been gifted with the ability to tap into people's energies and thoughts. As she grew older, Angela embraced and enhanced this gift by seeking wise counsel and ancient teachings. Her natural curiosity and desire to deal with her own life challenges has led her on a magical journey of spiritual and personal development that spans 3 decades. Currently, Angela has a coaching and consulting practice that provides a one-of-a-kind experience with truly breakthrough results for those fortunate enough to work with her. And I'm welcome, Angela. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. And I do really appreciate your going the extra mile and staying up so late to be with us. And I know the radio listeners will agree when they hear our show, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
So Angela and I met on a book project, and we're both co-authors of a #1 international best-selling book. The title of the book is called The Missing Piece, A Transformational Journey. And so that is our connection to each other. And I was really excited when she agreed to be my guest tonight because she's going to share some of her, what she has named her newsletter is Tools for Change. And that's very exciting for me because I'm always interested in how people manage change and negotiate change and make it an excellent opportunity. So, Angela, tell us a little bit about your newsletter, how often it comes out.
Do you know what? I'm actually not the greatest person at being very communicative at times. My sort of pattern is to pull back a bit and go into my own little world. So I probably will email people almost like daily or maybe 5 times a week for a couple of months, and then I'll take a breather of about a month or a month and a half, 2 at most, and then I'll go back to the routine of messaging people about 5 times a week. And I like to share tools, really. That's why it's called Tools for Change. So I'll let people know if I'm doing an interview like this, which I'm so grateful for. But I also like to share questions that I'm using or what's happened in my life and how I've been able to turn it around and what tools I've used to turn it around.
Well, I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I really appreciate when people can be that vulnerable and share their experiences, and also, I might call them strategies for success or for moving through change. And so I think that's really important that we're able to talk about these, because I know that when I've experienced any kind of trauma or issue or problem in my life, that one of the first things I notice is that I feel very alone and very isolated.
Well, I think for me, I want that aloneness, if that makes any sense. And I like to hide. And I know that I'm not alone because my spiritual and personal development background has allowed me to know that. But I prefer that sort of energy, and the thing that I do to get out of it, or what I was doing, and I'm looking for ways of doing it in maybe a different way. So I'm just going to be really vulnerable and just kind of like hang all my dirty laundry out. Is I started blogging about what was going on. And in the process of blogging, what I was doing was sharing the tools that I could use to get out of it, and then using it as a way of getting out of it, if it makes, because I didn't really want to hide, because my whole thing is about hiding when things get a bit tricky for me.
Okay. So I like that, and I do agree that quality time alone can be very powerful. I mean, it gives you time to think, right? Go deeper than you may normally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, if people want to receive your newsletter and get messages from you, they can go to your website, correct?
Yes, they can.
Want to give them that address?
Yeah, it's ultimatedreamproject.com. So it's obviously www.ultimatedreamproject.com. And on any page at the top right-hand corner is the opt-in box to get the newsletter, but they'll also get something way yummier than just that.
Okay. Well, that's intriguing. Now I want to go sign up for it. I like yummy things.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
Sorry. There is Tools for Change Module 1. I made that free recently so that anyone can sign up for it. And it's basically the program that I started designing and putting together for my higher end clients that I work intensively with. And I wanted to find a way to remove the most common limitations and blocks that people had, limiting beliefs, or, just some of the blocks, so that when I sit down to work with someone over the phone or Skype or in person, I don't have to go through the basics and remove those basic limiting beliefs and blocks. So I've made that free now, instead of just having it for the people who were paying me $2,500 a month. It's now actually free, and it's just hours upon hours of tools and information to support you in getting rid of those limiting beliefs and blocks.
Well, Angela, that is very generous of you. And I'm sure that our listeners will want to check that out. I have to comment that I do like the name of your website, The Ultimate Dream Project. Dreams attract me because as I was growing from childhood into adulthood, I seem to, for a while, have lost the knack of dreaming and the power that you get from dreaming. And so dream is an important word to me now because I know how it helps with resilience and renewing energy. And why did you pick the name for your website?
With a lot of things, I'm spirit driven, and that name just came to me, and I just couldn't believe that it was available.
So that was like a sign, right?
Yeah. I mean, my target with what I do is literally to get people to be functioning from a place of living their ultimate dreams.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that. So in your bio, we talked about your ability to tap into people's energies and thoughts. And tell us a little bit more. What really motivated you to get started in this? Did people just tell you were good at it and you embraced it?
Well, because of my background with the abuse, I really felt that it was my duty to support people and just to get them to a better place. And I think the turning point for me is when I was working with some Native American Indian teachers, and one of them said to me, you just have to get out there. You just have to start sharing what you do because, you know stuff that other people don't. Mm-hmm. And, that's one thing that I love sharing with people because I think everyone knows something that someone else doesn't, or they know something just a little bit better than what someone else does. So for me, the personal development training, just so it makes sense, because I'm the queen of deletion and not speaking very fluently at times because I'm so in my head and energetic. Uh-huh. But I had quite a bit of abuse as a child, and my goal was to find happiness and to have peace. I mean, I remember, really praying for peace and happiness. There's so many times that I can sort of pinpoint back where I did that. And as soon as I found out about personal development, I just dove in head first. And it's something that I've never really left. It's something I've really tried as much as possible to train in intensively, and it was to get away from and out of the abuse.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me, and I can really appreciate and what a really wonderful message that is that you said that you were searching to be happy and to have peace. And I think that's kind of an underlying theme for all human beings. Would you agree with that, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe that, and I think an underlying thing is to feel good, to feel worthy, to feel good enough is another one.
Right. Because of messages we're getting from other people in our lives and other systems and other experiences, right?
It goes beyond that. I think my personal belief is that it goes to the core internal messages that we have. Mm. And that's where I can really support people, because you can get rid of some of the people if you work really hard.
Yeah.
You make sacrifices, then you can get rid of those people that give you those messages and bring you down and stop you from functioning from your greatness. But once you don't have those people in your life anymore, then you realize it's actually the internal voices and the internal messages that you have that are holding you back. And that's where having me as a mentor is brilliant, because I'm able to see what those are and stop those patterns.
And is that how you came up with your topic of tonight's show, spinning the energy of success?
I came up with spinning the energy of success when I was working with one of my intensive clients over the summer, last summer, because I realized that he had loads of success in different areas of his life in the past, yet he wasn't functioning from success on a daily basis. And I firmly believe in the law of attraction. I mean, it's just one of the foundational teachings that I believe in, and believe that what you put out to the universe is what you receive. And my analogy with that is that you're ordering like at a nice restaurant all the time, almost 24/7. And that restaurant is bending over backwards with loads of staff and, servers, waiters, barmaids, chefs. They're all there to fulfill your order in the quickest, easiest way possible. But the problem is that there's a bit of a language barrier, and they don't understand negatives so much. And they can only go by the energy that you're emitting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you're... Sorry, Deborah, you speak.
I was just going to say that the law of attraction is a universal law that's been around for thousands of years, right?
Right.
And it seems like we are hearing about it more and more. It's become kind of a common piece of knowledge about this law of attraction. And so I can see how that fits with your gifts and how you can help people with that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why it's become more common is because of Abraham Hicks, their way of explaining the law of attraction, and it's really their sort of niche is all the law of attraction. And
right.
The clarity that they have is phenomenal. So I spent 3.5 years really studying their stuff intensively. By intensively, I mean a minimum of 15 hours a day.
Oh my gosh. That's dedication.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm a bit like that.
It worked for you though, right?
Well, yeah, it really did. I was able to get so much from it. And then I started training in Access Consciousness. So I went from Abraham Hicks to Access Consciousness, and I've been doing that for 5 years now. I just had my 5-year anniversary of when I started. And that has been the thing that has given me the most amount of freedom and joy and happiness. So a lot of my tools are Access Consciousness based. Well, all of the questions are Access Consciousness based, and that was created by Douglas.
Right. Well, so tell us a little bit more about spinning the energy of success. Kind of elaborate some more on that, would you please?
Okay. So, again, it's just really important to be functioning from the energy of success, that you have success. Because if you are functioning from something different, like, for example, I had a session with one today, and they said that they needed to, for personal reasons, they needed to seek employment because things hadn't worked out in a different situation, so they had to get a normal job. Well, it was a job in their field, but the person wanted to be freelance instead of working for someone else. So they'd gone into sort of a decision and conclusion that it was going to be really difficult because it wasn't what they wanted, and they were just kind of looking at how it was going to work out. So what I was explaining was that the universe is then going to be giving them more of what they were already sort of deciding was going to happen. So just a quick thing that she could have done was to spin the energy of success to get her out of that sort of mindset, because to me, that's kind of a limiting mindset that she was functioning in. And as I said, you just have to be a bit careful as to what the messages are that you're giving out to the universe, because the universe is really going to give you everything that you're asking for, including the stuff that you're saying that you don't want, because it doesn't understand the difference between the stuff that you don't want and the stuff that you do want. So the way I teach people to do spending the energy of success is asking questions, but also anchoring it in and using energy. So if you could take one of your hands, and I'm not sure if that's me getting a message on Skype or not, so I am so sorry about that. I'm just going to say that I am not available. So if you take one of your hands and you want to look at either tapping the tips of your fingers or tapping the tips of your fingers on your knee or on a desk, whatever works, but you just want to be using your hands. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some of the access questions, and I'm going to run them for you, and then I'll run them maybe in the first person. So the first question would be, how does it get any better than this? So if you just either touch your thumb or tap your thumb down on your knee or a desk or whatever you'd like to do. I quite like just touching my fingers with my index finger from my other hand. So it's, how does it get any better than this? What else is possible? What are the infinite possibilities here? Wow, I chose this. Now, what do I choose? And how did I get to be so lucky? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually run them for you. I want you to think about things that were successful, things that you were like happy about, or you were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Just think of some things, and ideally what you'd want to do is have 5 things that you can think of. If you can only think of one thing, then think of that one thing every time I'm asking the question, and just touch or tap a finger, just going like starting from your thumb and going to your pinky finger as I do it. And what that's going to do is that's going to sort of anchor in that energy of success. So again, do your best to look at 5 things where you had success, where something happened. And if you can't think of anything because, you know, you're just at a place where nothing seems that great, I'd like you to look at things like you're listening to this call, which means you have hearing. You've got the ability to actually hear. And what if that's a success? And you're breathing. I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this call, that you're actually breathing. So that's a success. You woke up this morning. Waking up every morning could be a success. And I just want to say that I had really bad depression. I was to the point where I was spending my life in bed. Like, I literally could not get up and dressed and showered not in that order, in the opposite order, because I was so depressed. And the thing that really helped me was this concept of success, that I could celebrate things like waking up in the morning. I could celebrate going to the bathroom and brushing my teeth. I could celebrate and view having a shower a success. I could celebrate and view getting dressed as a success. And it really changed my life. So this concept is really based on how I went from seemingly having really bad stuff going on in my life and just really hating my life and just, wishing that I'd get cancer and die every single day, and, praying to God that I would, to, really, really loving my life. And I really think and know and believe that it's because I changed my viewpoint of success. And I think a lot of people view success as something like really big, like, oh, if I, get the job of my dream, I'll be a success. Or, if I have a relationship with someone where we never fight ever, that will be a success. And those are things that might be possible, but they're probably so far away, or maybe like 2 steps away from you right now. Maybe they're not that far away, but some people look at even bigger things, like winning $30 million on the lottery or something, and they think that only that's a success. But if you look at that, like winning $30 million on the lottery, as compared to, you woke up this morning, you can see, you can hear, you can walk and go brush your teeth. I mean, that's a huge success. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
So if you can value success and redefine what success is to you and really value the little things in life, then it's going to be so much easier for you to have that relationship where you don't argue with your partner, or to win the $30 million on the lottery, or to get that dream job that you've been looking for, because that's, the next logical step. It's not, that big of a thing. So if you can look at things and just have some level of success for things that you might have in the past taken for granted or thought of as being normal. So how does it get any better than this? What else is possible that you haven't even considered yet? What are the infinite possibilities here? How did you get to be so lucky? What would it take for something like this or better to show up? How does it get any better than this? What else is possible that you haven't even considered yet? What are the infinite possibilities here? How did you get to be so lucky? What would it take something like this or better to show up? How did you get to be so lucky? How does it get any better than this? Wow, you chose this. Now what do you choose? What else is possible that you haven't even considered yet? What are the infinite possibilities here? How did you get to be so lucky? How does it get any better than this? What else is possible that you haven't even considered yet? How does it get any better than this? Wow, you chose this. Now what do you choose? How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Wow, you chose this. Now what do you choose? What else is possible that you haven't even considered yet? What are the infinite possibilities here? So, Deborah, were you able to press your fingers or tap your fingers and...
Yes, I was participating.
The energy of success?
I was, and that's really fascinating. And I really think that is a great exercise to go through to learn to appreciate the small things. Yeah, that was great. Thank you, Angela.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, you can obviously use it for much, much bigger things, but if you only have the small things, you want to start with whatever you have.
Right. Well, and anybody who's experienced trauma would need to start at the very basic things like that, because trauma comes in all forms, right? But
right.
It impacts our ability to make decisions and to think critically. And so starting at this very basic place about what do I have, what that makes me a success is I think that's really informative and helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, I was able to go from, literally hating myself and wanting to die and being really depressed to being able to get out of that space just by changing how I viewed success and what that meant. And what I see with so many people is they use success as this thing that they're aiming to get to, and it's never something that they've ever achieved. And if you're always trying to get to some place and then you're using that language with other people and yourself and the universe, then the universe is just going to give you more of what you have. And it's almost going to be like, a hamster on one of those balls, in one of those balls that it has.
Yeah, that wheel thing that they run.
Yeah. Yeah,
I agree.
You're always moving towards it, but you can't actually see that actually you're not really getting there. So, the spinning the energy of success was designed, specifically to support you in being able to tap into that energy. And the thing is that once you start doing that, and once you start to get some bigger successes under your belt, if you then have a bit of an off day, then you can go back and do the process again for the things from the past and start vibrating from that energy. Mm-hmm. Because ideally, you want to be using this tool to lift your energy and to start functioning more from a place of you being your greatness before you do things like, I don't know, do an interview, like me doing an interview with you today. Uh-huh. If I wasn't really vibrating from my best, it would be something that I would sit down and do, or going to a job interview or going on a date. If you really want to be your best, then this is just a really great technique to sort of master and be able to have it as a tool that you can use to get you into a state of being that really, really works for you. And it'll change that inner dialogue and those core messages that, you might have had in the past that kept you from feeling really good about yourself, right, and your life.
And I can see that this could be a really useful practice for people who survived all different forms of violence. People that have lived through child abuse and neglect and domestic violence and sexual violence. And this last week when I was in California at the Southwest Conference Against Trafficking, I had the honor and the privilege of working with people who had been trafficked and were now out of it and trying to reconstruct their life to be a life that they choose, and they're seeking this level of happiness and peace in their life and the belief in themselves, right, that they can be successful. And this is beautiful because it's portable, it's free.
Yeah, it is.
And it's very effective. It doesn't get much better than that.
So well, I would say, how does it get any better than that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't, there are no The only barriers for someone not trying this as a practice is their own beliefs, right? Their own limitation.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be open to the process and allow yourself the time to practice it. And do you think this is the kind of thing that the more you do practice this kind of these spinning the energy of success, that you feel more comfortable and even more confident in what you're doing?
I would say definitely, because as I said, I only created this spinning the energy of success for a client this past summer, and I've been using the concept of success and sort of maybe spinning the energy, but not in the same exact way, for a couple of years now, and it's quite a few years now, and it's really, really changed my life so much. It changed the results that I was getting in my business, but most of all, it changed the amount of happiness I'm able to experience and have. So I've gone from, not being able to hold happiness, true happiness, for more than maybe 5 minutes at a time, for most things, and then for big things, I could possibly hold it for about 30 minutes and spend most of my time living in that constant state of trauma and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I can't even have an argument with my husband that lasts more than 3 minutes.
That's great.
And, I can't feel really bad for more than like half an hour if something really significantly terrible happens. I can't really hold on to that energy of feeling really bad.
Right. And learning to use these tools in the face of some impending incident, something that's going to be happening. It's a tool that prepares you for it, and then it also helps you afterwards too, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How many times does do I build this event that's coming up into a really big deal, and then I actually go to the event and it's not such a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But using these practices, I can see how that would help me be calm and confident about it and not go to that anxious or anxiety state that you've built up.
Yeah, well, I would say if you were feeling anxious and having anxiety, I would ask, is this anxiety or excitement? Because what if it's excitement that you've misidentified?
Mm-hmm. That's totally possible too. We're not really schooled on our emotions, how to express them and to articulate them. And
Exactly.
Mostly we're told to deny and diminish our feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, or we're told what we're feeling.
Yes.
And told wrongly, so therefore we then assume that emotion is that thing.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's so important to become self-aware of what's going on in your physical body as well as your intellect and then your spiritual beliefs. I think to integrate all three of those powers in our life is really important, and being aware of them and trying to keep them integrated is how I've been able to. I mean, I'm actually a survivor of domestic violence myself, and I feel like I'm at the happiest point in my life right now. I mean, the only time I ever remember being happier maybe is when my children were born. But and now they're grown into adults, so I can actually look at people and say, you know what, I'm happy.
Yay.
I like what's going on in my life, and I'm happy about that. And there was a long time when I could have never said that, and I would have never said that. And it just feels so much better to be on this side of that, on that happy equation. Yeah. And having the experience of some sort of trauma definitely impacts our ability to reach this place where we feel comfortable and confident in what we're doing and our decisions and our behaviors and our outcomes. So that's why I like to do this type of radio show, Angela, because I know that, you and I are not the only ones who have a need for these tools and these practices. I've talked with thousands of survivors over the past 20 years, and I know that I could name several of them who would really appreciate learning about this process and trying it for their own benefit, So I just can't help but think that that is really the power that this, all of our modern technology and internet access, and this is the benefit to it, is that we can share that and help remove some of the isolation I was talking about. Not the isolation that's good, where you need to be quiet and go deep inside, but the isolation where you're feeling nobody understands me, nobody knows what I'm going through, those types of things. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this show and, being such a huge gift and contribution to thousands and thousands of people. How did we get to be so lucky? Yay!
We are lucky, yes. So tell, what do you love most about working with your clients and doing this work, Angela?
For me, it's that moment of when they let go of a core limiting belief and they step into more of their confidence and power and just being more of them, the person that, they were born to be, instead of the person who's been affected by their environment and the things that have happened to them. I mean, it's just that moment when they step into it and, then the following moments. I love the amount of peace and happiness that people get from it. I have very few face-to-face clients, but I was working with someone on Monday, and she was crying. She was literally crying because it was just like a pre-meeting that we were having to discuss my prices and stuff for intensive mentoring. But she had used that free module, the one that you can get with the Tools for Change newsletter that I was talking about. And that's what was making her cry. She said that she's just never felt so happy and that she can laugh for no reason. And I know that that's her story and her results from using it for, and she'd only done half of it for, I think, 2 weeks. But what, if that was her result, what's possible for you? And it was just so lovely to be able to know that has happened for her. And I've had so many people just with that free, I know you asked me about my clients, and I'm talking about, the Tools for Change, the free module, but I've had so many emails, like almost on a daily basis, of people writing to me, thanking me because of the results that they're having. There's these 4 energetic meditations at the end of that program. And in one of them, you get a chance to kind of go back and have like a do-over of your life.
Great.
And one of the most touching emails I've ever had was with someone who said profusely how she was, she just had such profound gratitude for me and for the program and
for it being free because for the first time ever, she was able to have good memories of her past. And I think I didn't quite believe it at first, because I think this is when I first made it public to the general public, because before that it would only be my high-paying clients who would get to purchase it and have it. And it was just amazing because she literally had had such a bad life that she didn't have one good, happy memory. And she said that she would just sit down every day for an hour and do it. And, she would come out of it just crying, feeling so good about herself. And it's things like that that keep me going and keep me motivated and keep me training, because I still train a minimum of 15 hours every week, because I want to be on that, and I want to be able to support you in getting to that place of happiness and getting the results that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Well, I can appreciate that. So seems like it's very rewarding work to be a personal coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Out of all the things that I really love doing, if I have a choice of working with a client, and I know that they're, really looking to do the work and to change, because what I do is pretty intensive and I can be pretty full on, I would choose that over almost anything else. Mm-hmm. Because I just really enjoy it, and it's so rewarding, and I have so much fun, and it brings me great pleasure to be able to free someone.
Yeah, and that's important. So what if someone out there thinks they're kind of similar to you, Angela, with some special gifts around energy and thoughts and spirituality, and they were trying to start their own careers? What would you recommend for them to do?
I would recommend that they just offer some trial sessions for feedback and find how they like to work, who they like to work with, and what works for them. And perhaps look at getting a coach or mentor, because I think it's really important. Personally, I think it's really important, because if you just are kind of going on your own, then you're always going to be right. One of the things that I've stood by is something that my husband taught me the first year that we were together. So my husband has done a lot of Native American Indian training as well. And he focused a lot more on the survival skills. So he's a really good tracker. Mm-hmm. And he said that when you track alone, you're always right. So he was explaining to me in sort of detail that when you're tracking an animal and you're following the tracks, then you always know what direction it's going in. You always know if it's male or female. You always know what animal it is. You always know if its bladder is full or empty. You always know if it's hungry or if it's looking for food, and you're always right. He said, unless you're with another tracker. And he said it's only when you're with another tracker that you can actually really have a fuller picture of what's going on, because of the ideas and the feedback. And otherwise you're just right. You're just always right.
Yeah.
And I love sharing that
for learning.
Yeah, I love sharing that story with people, because it's true. If you're doing something on your own and you have no feedback and you have no support system, then you're always right in whatever you're doing, even if you're totally wrong and going like in the opposite direction of where you should be going.
That's wonderful. Well, I have found this time with you, Angela, very uplifting. and very informational. And again, I thank you for being a guest on my radio show. I really do appreciate it. And for our listeners who want to learn more about your practices and your coaching and what you have to offer, should they go to your ultimatedreamproject.com to contact you?
Yes, that would be great. And I created a tab for a special offer.
Okay.
For your listeners as well. So if they just go to the ultimatedreamproject.com, there's a tab that says bold offer.
Okay. Do you hear that, listeners? You get extra special consideration. Yay!
Exactly.
Yay! Exactly. Be sure to go to Angela's website, ultimatedreamproject.com, and look for the tab that says bold offer to see what she's offering to share with you. Beyond the magnificent spinning the energy success practice she's already shared with us. I mean, that is priceless. So, and, receiving her Tool for Change newsletter and messages could only further enlighten all of us. So thank you so much, Angela. And I'm so glad that we worked on that book project together.
Oh,
and it was a success by your standards, yes?
Oh, God, yes. Wasn't it like an international bestseller for like 4 days or something?
It absolutely was, and in several categories. So we're very proud of that accomplishment. And so thank you for joining Angela and I, listeners. And I will be here next Tuesday at the same time, which is 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time, and evidently it's about 1:30 UK time. So,
exactly, it is.
The good thing is that these are recorded. We do record our shows, and so we'll be able to share that with you, Angela, and you can put it on your website if you like. And listeners can download it anytime and listen anytime. So that's the benefit. If you heard something that really appeals to you, you can go back and listen again and again, and that's kind of magic as far as I'm concerned. So as far as me, Deborah, I am just today I went and trained with a native tribe named the Skokomish tribe here in Washington State. And they are on the peninsula area of Washington State. They are the people of the river. And we talked about domestic violence, sexual violence, dating violence, stalking, and sex trafficking. And I call those the big five. Those are the big five types of violence that I work to prevent, eliminate, and support people through their experiences of those. And it's always very rewarding to go meet with people who have a lot of the same goals and are interested in your experience and your skills and sharing their experience and skills. And so it's a very reciprocal process when I have the honor to work with any of the tribes in the state of Washington. I'm always very honored and thrilled and just kind of humbled by their, the experience they've had as citizens here in the United States. So I look forward to more of that. And as I said, you can reach me on my websites, and it's my name, Deborah K. Adams, SES.com. And then I also have a website for the book that Angela and I co-authored, and it's Deborah K. Adams, TheMissingPiece.com. So you can go there and find out more about me. You can send me contact through there. And I'm on all kinds of social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, I have a blog as well, Angela. And so seek me out and you shall find me. So thank you very much, and good night, and a great week to you. I hope to see you 7 days from now. Thank you. Bye, Angela.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. You can reach Deborah at DeborahKAdamsMA@gmail.com or go to her website, www.sisses.net, www.DeborahKAdamsSES.com, www.DeborahKAdamsTheMissingPiece.com. See you next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Deborah SES. And remember, you are empowered.